Well, Colin, when we spoke in pre-season, there was absolutely no guarantee, and if anything, quite a bit of uncertainty as to whether we'd straight away be able to achieve what we've now achieved this season. You must be very pleased with players, management, and everybody here.
Yeah, and achieving as much as we've made the playoffs. We've still got a long way to go to achieve our main aim, which is to get promotion, to bounce straight back, which I think would be quite unique. So that's what we want to do, but I'm delighted with the season on a whole. I was pretty sure that John was going to be a good manager, but seeing him work on a daily basis and understand him now and what he's done with the football club, I'm absolutely convinced he's going to be a huge name in the game.
I remember one of the very first questions I ever asked him when we spoke after his appointment. I sort of asked him, what sort of manager do you think John Eustace will make? And I remember him saying to me, well, I've got absolutely no idea. And at that time, as you say, it would have been arrogant to assume that just because we were a club coming down that we'd automatically be in a position to bounce straight back up. What has made that possible, do you think?
His honesty, his bravery, his foresight, and his willingness to be strong, fair, but to trust. And that's what makes the difference here, that the players believe in him and he believes in the players. And I don't think if you asked him now what kind of manager he was, he probably couldn't answer you, because he's absolutely engrossed in the job, and he's not he's not got a big ego by any stretch of the imagination, whereas most people will be thinking, how do people perceive me and what I've done. It doesn't enter his mind. His mind is purely the next game, the next training session, the next chance to improve. The players, the playing squad, the staff, the club, himself, that's the way he thinks.
He doesn't spend a lot of time being self-aware, does he?
No, and he's a unique person, he's a unique character in a game full of ego. There is none, and what you see is what you get, and he won't change that. And I think that'll stand him in good stead going forward, I really do. And hopefully that forward will be with us for the foreseeable future anyway.
There were no guarantees over 9 months of a season. There are certainly no guarantees over 3 games, or possibly 3 games in the playoffs. But what are your thoughts on that as a situation?
It's very difficult. It's a unique situation for so many of us. It's unique for me. I've not been through this before. I'm new into this side of football. I've never really had an involvement in a game. As much as I have done since my time in Kidderminster, I would go to games to watch clients, but not really have that much of an opinion either way what the result would be. And so watch most games in this country and around the world as a complete neutral. So you're there to be entertained, or you're there to learn, or to listen, or whatever it might be. But in this situation, you're absolutely engrossed. You're up, you're down, you're elated, you're deflated, you want to fight the world, you want to be everybody's friend. It's very difficult for me, let alone what those kids are going through, that put our kids on every week. And we've got to recognise that a lot of those kids have not been in this situation themselves either. They've come out of 23s football, whereas not really that much importance on whether you win, lose or draw. And they're talking about playing in 25 games a season, where they're getting towards 50, some of them now, and they're tired, and it's a unique experience for them, and one that will stand them in good stead. But of course everybody will worry about what happens next year. Everybody wants to know what's going to happen now, and I don't know. They've never failed to surprise me all season, and I'm hoping that they can surprise me again in the next 2-3 weeks.
There are some clubs in the country, obviously, which put themselves in a position where, should they make the playoffs or a cup final or something where they can earn themselves a big prize, there's a risk if they don't do that. It's important to underline that the club, as a club, will be fine almost regardless of what happens.
There's nothing we've done that's taken into account being in a higher division with regards to business forecasts. All we do know that the assets that we've got on the pitch will be better for the experience that they're going to gain over the next few weeks and have gained over the year. Therefore, that asset will be of greater value because they will be more experienced and therefore better qualified going forward. But with regards to the business of the football club, No, we haven't really calculated on what success might be, or what getting promotion might be, and therefore we've looked at the worst case scenario, and that would be being in this division next year, and how we build a business from this position next year.
And before we move on to, obviously, as you said, the business of the football club, just looking at the playing squad, as you mentioned, in terms of including offers that are out there for other players as well, talking about possibly having maybe a dozen or so players already contracted within the next few weeks for next season. That's a great basis on which to build.
It is, and we're hoping to expand that as well. But you know, honestly, the goodwill that we're getting within the game now, the people that maybe have been here before, or have not been here before, but have seen and heard the way that we play and the way that we do things, and the way we're a little bit unique in a non-league environment. The phone's ringing from people who want to come, which is to all of us, to myself, to the gaffer, to Gardy, to Kev, to everybody. You know, people want to come here and play because they want to be a part of what we do. They want to play with a smile on their face and enjoy the way they're playing, rather than being asked to play the game in a negative way. They want to be involved in a positive environment. So the phone's ringing. There are going to be players that will be coming in the summer, irrespective of what division we're in, because they want to be here. And it's great to get the core of the group signed up. And of course we'll lose players. There's no question that we'll lose players, and those players will go with our blessing. But we'd like to keep them. But you know, we may not. But you know, that's whether they'll enjoy their time as much away from here. I'd debate that. And
as well as how they play out on the pitch and how they worked with, from a footballing point of view, it was striking. One of the players that's extended his contract recently said to me, well, I like being in this position because this football club's run well. Quite apart from what happens on the pitch, players appreciate a football club that's run well, don't they?
What they see as run well is the fact that we do things professionally, whether we can afford it or not, whether they know that we can afford it or not, but the fact is that we'll travel properly, we'll do pre-match, we'll do things properly, we'll do things as professional football clubs would do, because that's what the manager expects and that's the standards we should set. We'll stay overnight very rarely, but when we do, we'll do it properly. And they'll see that, you know, at the moment we're training at Lilleshall because the training ground's far too firm for us to risk injury, and so we'll put a little bit of investment into training costs so they can train up there 2-3 days a week, because, you know, that's what we should do, rather than asking them to risk injury and limbs on unsuitable playing surfaces. So they'll see that running properly is us providing and covering every eventuality. That's what they will see. Whether they believe we can afford it or not is furthest from their thoughts, I'm sure.
And it's interesting that you mentioned there risk playing on decent playing surfaces. Andre Brown, of course, played for Leicester in Premier League 2 action on Monday night. That's a different sort of situation. How did that one arise?
Leicester approached me a few weeks ago. They came to watch right back for Nuneaton at the time and went away talking about Andre, and they made an approach. He played in a game at Lilleshall behind closed doors against Northern Ireland under 23s. He did well, scored 2 goals, and they asked him to go back. I went down to the game at Reading, and he did okay, and they quite like him, but they see what we see. He's potential, he's purely potential. I'd argue that potential would be better developed here, and you know that in a year's time he could be a lot closer to the real deal. At the moment he's purely potential, but his goal record is phenomenal for minutes on the pitch, obviously.
Is it important to mention as well, in terms of supporters looking in, that to go from a situation where a player plays a game on a trial basis to a point where he signs with them for a transfer fee, there's a lot still to happen before that happens, isn't it? You know,
there's a long way to go, but when you bring players of Andre's calibre in, you'll say that you'll give them the opportunity when the opportunity arises. Otherwise, we wouldn't have got them in the first place, and that's where we'll get more players of Andre's type coming out of clubs that will want to come here. One, for the way we play, but two, the fact that we are open and honest, and we won't stand in their way when the time comes. That will, if we start standing in their way, we'll stop getting players like Andre going forward. I know it frustrates people and worries people that we'll lose top talent. You have to trust us that we know where the next group of top talent's going to be, and that's the way it will be. Otherwise, we won't be able to do what we would do, which is to bring the talent through, develop it, move them on, and hopefully make a good fee on it at the same time.
You're talking about how we go about business and do things in the correct way. Any supporters being concerned about the timing of Andre's game last night, considering there's an awful lot going on here? There's a lot that goes into agreeing this sort of arrangement, doesn't there, in terms of contingencies? We're taking care of it.
It was a Monday night game, and you know, you would have trained anyway. He had half a game on Saturday. He went in there on Sunday. They gave him a full massage and got him prepared, and he stayed overnight, and they did it the right way. But you know, we could have said no, but that wouldn't be the right message. It just wouldn't be the right message. And the lad is so pleased and so grateful to the football club for allowing him to go, that he, you know, that reflects well on us as well. He will give his all for us because we've been fair with him.
And just on that point, exactly that, Andre and everyone else, it's an exciting time here, and we all just get back to work now, don't we? That's the thing. We've got, rather than just one game left this weekend, we've at least now got 3, which is exciting.
It is, and it'll be a great experience for us all, because, you know, it's tough on the nerves. It really is tough on the nerves. It'll be a great experience for us all, and it's nice to have the fans involved at the end of the season in something like this. It gets the town talking, it gives everybody a buzz, and you know, this is why you play the sport, and this is why you support your team for days like this. I understand people will argue that, well, we should be higher in the league and we should be, you know, we're Kidderminster Harriers, but then I think that Stockport would argue that they've got a better tradition and a history than us, and Darlington, Salford are the new kids on the block with billionaire owners, and you know, and you know, so we've got a great tradition and a great history, but there are other clubs in this league that with probably as big, if not bigger, traditions and histories, and certainly bigger budgets, who would argue that they've more right than us to be higher up the league structure and higher up the pyramid. All you can do is beat what's in front of you, and in our case, all we can do is do it in our own way and our own style. I can't alter what's gone on at this football club. I can look at other examples of football clubs that have been on the same journey as us and weren't as fortunate to be as strong as we are now and fighting to get back to where they were. Some of them have actually just, you know what, down tools and said enough's enough, and we can't do this anymore. And we're going to have some local examples of that in the next couple of weeks as well. And so, yeah, I understand that people can think about the past and what the club represented. We want to get back to that, but I think also we need to be looking over other people's fences and realising that, you know, they're but for the grace of God goes us, and you know, how happy we should be that we are trying to work our way back to where this football club should be. But no one has a divine right to be anywhere, you know. Big clubs are struggling.
And in terms of this current season, I think including junior supporters, half-season tickets that are sold at Christmas, it's round about the 560, 570 mark. For early bird season tickets next season, already sold the best part of 530. That's, as a measure of support, that's really encouraging, isn't it?
It's phenomenal, and I've met a lot of the people coming to buy their season tickets, and the message is the same. It's just, it gives you a thrill to talk to these people and have a chat with them when they come in to buy, and they're enjoying what they're seeing. We've won 14 of the last 15 home games, and we've played football probably of the like that's not been played here before, and they are understanding it. And I think the biggest thing for me is that the patience that our supporters have shown through the season, that they understand now to play the way we do, we have to go backwards, sideways to change points of attack, and therefore they understand it better, and the patience that the fans have shown when they're probably as nervous and as frightened at times as I am, they're keeping their emotions in check and staying supportive of the team, and they've been brilliant. They really have been brilliant, and they've been so supportive of the club and everybody in the club, which is great as well. But they enjoy what they watch on a Saturday afternoon, and That's what we want to be able to provide. We're the entertainment industry at the end of the day. We're in the entertainment industry. We want to make our customers as well as our supporters, we want to make them proud of what they watch and what they're involved in on a weekly or a fortnightly basis. And that's the biggest buzz that I'm getting at the moment, is getting to speak to the real people, that are involved in this football club.
And another measure of that as well is that the last 3 or 4 home games, over that 2,000 mark, it's crept up over the course of the season, but we've got to there, and you would expect that to maintain for Bradford, and certainly a playoff game as well. That's another huge milestone.
I think we're averaging over 2,000 since Christmas, and there's a core of maybe 150, 200 that we've added, which are people who, you know what, maybe have come along for the first time and said, well, I like this, it's good, I enjoyed this, and I think that, you know, that's down to what they're seeing, but we've got to keep that going. We've got to maintain that, and going forward, you know, whatever happens next year, we've got to keep being competitive, and you know, it's no good just maybe if we went up just surviving. I'm not interested in just surviving. We want to win every game, or be competitive in every game that we play. So we've got to keep that going. But you know, it's really refreshing now to see that core's grown, because they're enjoying what they're watching.
I know obviously there's a long way and many steps still to go in terms of the project and the bigger picture as a whole here. Lots still to be done, but does it please you, sort of as the architect of that, if you like, to see as an early reference point that it's moving in the right direction? You've got tangible evidence of that now. That must encourage you personally.
It's very encouraging, but you can't lose your focus. We've got so many plans and so many things that we want to achieve that, you know, that you're constantly thinking about what's next, and sometimes you do take for granted and what's happened. The thing that affects most people is what happens on the pitch, and I understand that. And the thing that pleases me most is that we changed the philosophy, and we developed a style that we believe in passionately, that will carry us forward and keep us in good stead going forward, and that has borne some fruit so far, but it's working, and hopefully it will continue to work. We're going to have difficult challenges. People will set up 2 banks of 4 and stop, you know, that stop us passing through the lines, and you know, I've heard mention of a lot of people, what's our plan B, and I accept that, as much as it frustrates me, because I'd have to argue that before we didn't even have a plan A. I understand, and that is in development stages as well, and one thing that you will know is that plan B will be absolutely that. It will be a plan. It won't be, let's just throw another big bloke up there and kick it to him from, you know, all over the pitch. It will be a plan, and there will be method, and there will be understanding that goes into that plan B. And we are working on other areas of maybe sometimes playing a little bit longer into areas where we can turn the opposition round, and we are always always looking to improve. So I understand the supporters in that, but it's all part of us evolving together.
And a lot of that philosophy you can apply off the pitch as well. You mentioned a plan A, a plan B, you mentioned future challenges, you know, people presenting obstacles. A lot of that's the same in the business sense of the club as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. You have to take people with you. Some people can't grasp, you know, what your thoughts are, and some people have very strong opinions on what's possible and what's not. Quite simply, I like to try, and my thoughts are what things can become, not, you know, the dire straits that we might be in if we didn't think the right way. You know, someone said to me, well, what if your business plan doesn't work? It's kind of, well, what's your point? Does that mean we don't have a plan? You know, just accept, you know, that that's what we are. You know, if the business plan doesn't work, we change the plan, but which part of the business plan? There's probably 30 strands to the business plan. Which part? They all fail. Some fail, some succeed. Well, if some succeed, maybe we need to work harder on the parts that fail, or maybe we just need to focus more on the things that are succeeding. But if you don't have a plan and don't work to a plan, how can you improve? So I didn't really get the question. What if it doesn't fail? The world seems to run around, it's unfair, the world. my world revolves around certain individuals who like to tell me that the boat's sinking, but no one actually says how to fix the fact that the boat's sinking. I like to fix the boat sinking. I like to say, look, see that hole? I'm going to put that patch on it and I'm going to make it not sink anymore, and not only that, I'm going to buy a bigger engine and we're going to make it go faster.
I fully get your perspective in that all needs to be kept in perspective in terms of life as a whole, but there's no harm in having a passion for it, is there?
I'm absolutely driven, and the people within the business are driven because they have the same passion for it as I do. We can't just get by, and we can't not just enjoy what we do and not really want to drive the whole thing to the point that we are proud of what we've achieved. It's what's the point? What's the point of getting out of bed in the morning just to be what you are? There's no point.
Everyone come along hopefully on Saturday and next weekend as well. Cheer the lads on.
I've no doubt they'll come in vast numbers, and I'm no doubt they'll get behind the team. They've been brilliant all season, and I don't say that. It's a throwaway line, isn't it? When you see people being interviewed on Sky, the fans were great and everything else. Throw a bone to the fans and they'll like me. I don't care if people like me or not. I'll say it the way it is. The fans have been great this season, and I expect them to stay that way. And if things don't work out, you know what? I expect them to turn up. We'll all be bruised and we'll all be disappointed, but I expect them to get behind us again because they absolutely believe in what we're trying to achieve.